I stood in my brother's marble-floored foyer, surrounded by moving boxes and the remnants of my marriage, when Micah's words hit me like a punch to the gut. You can't stay here forever, Poppy. You need to figure out your own life now. My name is Poppy, and 2 months ago, I walked in on my husband of 12 years having sex with his secretary on our kitchen counter. The same counter where I'd left him breakfast that morning. I thought you said I could stay as long as I needed, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. The echo of my words in the high-ceilinged entryway made me feel smaller somehow. Micah ran his hand through his salt and pepper hair, a gesture so reminiscent of our father it made my chest ache. That was before your divorce was finalized. You're a single woman now, sis. What will people think? I wanted to remind him that half the down payment for this mansion came from my savings, but I bit my tongue. When he'd been struggling to secure the loan last year, I'd helped without hesitation. That's what family does. What people think, I repeated, disbelief coloring my voice. Since when do you care about that? His girlfriend Lexis appeared in the doorway, her dark eyes darting between us. Micah, maybe we should… Not now, babe. He cut her off, then turned back to me. Look, I'm trying to build something here. I've got clients coming over, business partners to impress. Having my divorced sister camping out in my guest room, it's not a good look. My phone buzzed. A text from Savannah. Coffee? You sound like you need it. I'll be out by the weekend, I said, my voice clipped. I grabbed my purse and headed for the door, catching Lexis's sympathetic glance as I passed. 20 minutes later, I sat across from Savannah at our favorite coffee shop, wrapping my hands around a steaming latte. He actually said that? About what people would think? Savannah's outrage was exactly what I needed. Yep, apparently being divorced is contagious. I tried to laugh, but it came out more like a sob. The same brother who cried on your shoulder when his first business went bankrupt? The one you helped with this house? Savannah's dark eyes flashed. What happened to him? I stirred my coffee, watching the foam swirl. Success happened. Money happened. Sometimes I think he's trying so hard to be someone important. He's forgotten who he is. My phone lit up with Charles's name. My ex, probably calling about the last of his stuff still in storage. I declined the call. You know what the worst part is? I said, pushing the phone away. When I caught Charles cheating, Micah was the first person I called. He showed up at my house at midnight, helped me pack, told me everything would be okay. I swallowed hard. He promised he'd always have my back. Savannah reached across the table and squeezed my hand. What are you going to do? Find an apartment, I guess. Start over. The words tasted bitter. And let him get away with this? Savannah's eyebrows shot up. After everything you've done for him? What choice do I have? You always have choices, Poppy. You're just too nice to see them sometimes. Back at Micah's house that evening, I found Lexis alone in the kitchen making dinner. She glanced over her shoulder as I entered. I'm sorry about earlier, she said softly. I tried talking to him, but it's not your fault. I opened the fridge, grabbing a water bottle. He's changed, hasn't he? Lexis put down her knife, turning to face me. He's obsessed with this image he's trying to build. Sometimes I barely recognize him anymore. Join the club, I muttered. Poppy? Micah's voice boomed from his home office. Can you come here for a minute? I shared a look with Lexis before heading down the hallway. Micah sat behind his massive desk, looking every bit the successful businessman in his tailored shirt and designer watch. The watch I'd helped him buy for his 40th birthday. I've been thinking, he said, not looking up from his computer. You should be out by Wednesday. I've got important clients coming for dinner Thursday, and we'll need the guest room for their driver. I stood there, staring at my brother. This stranger wearing my brother's face. And something inside me snapped. Wednesday it is, I said quietly. But Micah? He finally looked up. Be careful what you wish for. His expression flickered with uncertainty for just a moment, but I was already walking away, my mind racing. Savannah was right. I did have choices. and it was time I started making them. The next morning, I methodically packed my life into cardboard boxes while Savannah perched on my bed, scrolling through apartment listings on her phone. "This one's not bad," she said. "2-bedroom, decent neighborhood." "And twice what I can afford right now," I finished, carefully wrapping a photo frame. It was an old picture of Micah and me at our father's funeral, arms around each other, holding each other up. I slipped it into the box without looking at it again. "You know what kills me?" I said, taping the box shut. "I have $500,000 tied up in this house, and I'm the one looking for a cramped apartment." Savannah's head snapped up. "Wait, what?" I hadn't told anyone about the money. It had been a private arrangement between siblings, sealed with trust rather than proper documentation. When Micah was trying to buy this place, he was short on the down payment. I helped him out. "Please tell me you got that in writing." Savannah's voice was sharp. I started to shake my head, then stopped. "Actually?" I dove for my laptop bag, pulling out an old leather portfolio I'd inherited from Dad. Inside were various documents he'd left us. His will, some insurance papers, and here it is. My hands trembled as I unfolded the document. Dad always insisted we put everything in writing, even between family, especially between family. Savannah snatched the paper, her eyes widening as she read. "This is a legal agreement for co-ownership of any property purchased using these funds. Poppy, this makes you a 50% owner of this house." I finished. Dad made us both sign it before he died. He said it was to protect us both. "Your father was a smart man." Savannah was already pulling out her phone. "My cousin Marcus is a real estate lawyer. You need to talk to him, now." 2 hours later, I sat in Marcus's downtown office, watching him review the document. "This is solid," he said finally, looking up at me. "Your father had this properly drafted. The language is clear. Any property purchased using these funds would be jointly owned." "Did Micah use the money?" I pulled out my phone, showing him the bank transfer records. "Every penny went into this house." Marcus leaned back in his chair. "Then congratulations, you own half of your brother's dream home. What do I do now?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "That depends," Marcus said, folding his hands on his desk. "What do you want?" Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. A text from Lexus. "Can we meet? Alone?" I met her at a small cafe 3 blocks from the house. She was already there, fidgeting with her coffee cup. "I found something," she said as soon as I sat down. I was helping Micah organize his office, and I saw the original mortgage documents. "Your name isn't on them." "No," I said. "It wouldn't be. The money was given as a gift, officially." "But it wasn't a gift, was it?" Lexus's eyes were intense. "He's been talking about selling the house. He's got some potential buyers coming next month." My stomach dropped. "Selling it?" "He says it's time to upgrade. There's a place in the hills he's had his eye on." She hesitated. "Poppy, he's not planning to pay you back." I pulled out the document from my father and slid it across the table. Lexus read it, her face growing pale. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Does he know about this?" "He signed it, but I don't think he remembers." I took the paper back. Or maybe he doesn't think I remember. My phone buzzed again. Micah. "Where are you? Need the guest room cleared today." "Today?" Lexus's eyes widened. "But he said Wednesday." I stood up, suddenly energized. "I need to make some calls. Thank you, Lexus, for everything." "What are you going to do?" I thought about Micah's smug face behind his expensive desk, about the way he'd dismissed me like I was nothing, about how he'd forgotten who we used to be to each other. "I'm going to remind my brother about karma," I said, and about Dad's favorite saying, "Always get it in writing." Back in my car, I called Marcus. "I want to file the paperwork," I said. "All of it. Today." "Are you sure? This will change everything with your brother." I looked up at Micah's house, our house, gleaming in the afternoon sun. "He already changed everything. I'm just making it official." As I hung up, another text from Micah appeared. Called a cleaning service for tomorrow. Need the room empty by tonight. I smiled, thinking about the stack of legal documents about to land on his desk. Don't worry, big brother, I muttered. I'm not going anywhere. The courier arrived at exactly 4:30 p.m. I watched from my car across the street as he rang the doorbell and handed Micah a thick envelope. Even from this distance, I could see my brother's confident posture stiffen as he read the return address. Marcus Reynolds, attorney at law. My phone rang. Savannah, are you actually sitting outside your own house right now? Technically, it's only half my house, I said, watching Micah disappear inside with the envelope. And yes, I am. You're crazy, she laughed. But I love it. Has he opened it yet? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed with an incoming call. Micah. I should take this, I told Savannah. Wish me luck. I switched calls. Hello, brother. What the hell is this? His voice trembled with rage. Some kind of joke? The document's pretty clear, Micah. Dad made sure of that. I kept my voice steady. Remember when he made us both sign it? You said it was unnecessary because we'd always look out for each other. That was 10 years ago. You can't seriously what? Expect you to honor a legal agreement? Expect you to treat me like family? I watched the front door slam open as he stormed out, phone to his ear, scanning the street. I started my car. By the way, I won't be out by tonight. Or Wednesday. Or ever, actually. I think I'll stay in my half of the house. Your half? He spotted my car and started walking toward it. You're delusional. I'm calling my lawyer. Good idea. Have them look at the property records while you're at it. Marcus filed the paperwork this morning. I pulled away from the curb as Micah reached it, watching in my rearview mirror as he stood there, getting smaller and smaller. An hour later, I sat in Marcus's office again, this time with Lexus. He's furious, she said, wringing her hands. I've never seen him like this. He threw his phone across the room. Marcus spread out several documents on his desk. Let him be furious. The law is clear. The agreement is binding and the money trail is documented. Poppy owns 50% of that property. What happens now? I asked. Well, he can't sell without your consent. Can't take out additional loans against it either. And Marcus smiled slightly. He can't evict you. My phone lit up with a text from our mother, Caroline. Your brother just called me, screaming about some document your father left. What's going on? I hadn't spoken to Caroline in months. She'd sided with Charles during the divorce, saying I should have tried harder to make it work. I should call her, I said, standing up. Wait. Lexus grabbed my arm. There's something else you should know. Those buyers coming next month? They're not just buyers. Micah's been planning to turn the house into a corporate retreat center. He's got investors lined up and everything. Marcus's eyebrows shot up. Without disclosing co-ownership? That's fraud. He thought I'd never find out about the agreement, I said. Or that I'd be too nice to use it. My phone buzzed again. A text from Micah. My lawyer wants to meet. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Don't go alone, Marcus warned. In fact, don't go at all. Let me handle it. I thought about all the times I'd backed down, played nice, kept the peace. About Charles's smirking face when he'd told me I was too predictable. About Micah's dismissive wave when he'd told me to leave. No, I said. I want to be there. I want to see his face when he realizes what's happening. Poppy, Lexus started. It's not about revenge. I cut her off. It's about respect, about consequences, about family meaning something more than just a convenient arrangement. Marcus nodded slowly. I'll set up the meeting here. Neutral ground. That evening, I drove back to the house. Micah's car was gone, but lights blazed in every window. I used my key, my legal right now, and walked in. The cleaning service had been through. The guest room was spotless, sterile, empty. I set my bag down and pulled out the old photo of Micah and me at Dad's funeral. You were right, Dad, I whispered, running my finger along the frame. Always get it in writing. My phone buzzed one last time. Caroline. I'm coming into town. We need to talk. All of us. I placed the photo on the nightstand and sat on the bed. My bed now. Tomorrow would bring lawyers and arguments, family drama, and hard conversations. But tonight, in this room that my brother had tried to take from me, I finally felt something I hadn't felt since walking in on Charles and his secretary. I felt powerful. Marcus's office felt colder than usual as I sat across from Micah and his lawyer, a sharp-faced woman named Rita, who hadn't stopped scowling since she walked in. This is ridiculous, Micah said, tossing the agreement onto the conference table. It was a different time, a different situation. Poppy gave me that money as a gift. Actually, Marcus slid forward a stack of papers. Your sister never signed a gift declaration. The only document both parties signed was this co-ownership agreement. Rita leaned forward, adjusting her glasses. My client is prepared to offer a buyout. No. The word came out stronger than I'd expected. Be reasonable, Micah snapped. I'll give you your money back with interest. Like you were planning to do when you sold the house to those investors? I watched his face pale. Yeah, Lexus told me about your corporate retreat plans. Rita's scowl deepened. Miss, if you're attempting to blackmail... Blackmail? I laughed. I'm just stating facts. My brother tried to sell property he only half owns without disclosing that fact to investors. That's fraud, isn't it, Marcus? Marcus nodded slowly. It would be, yes. Quite serious, actually. The door opened and Caroline walked in, her heels clicking on the hardwood floor. Sorry I'm late. Traffic was terrible. Mom? Micah stood up. What are you doing here? Sitting down with both my children and figuring out what the hell happened to them. She took a seat at the head of the table. When did you two stop being family and start being enemies? Ask her. Micah pointed at me. She's the one threatening legal action. After you tried to throw me out on the street, I shot back. After I helped you buy that house. After I supported you through everything. Enough. Caroline's voice cracked like a whip. Micah, is what your sister's saying true? Did you try to evict her? It's my house, he muttered. Half your house. Marcus corrected quietly. My phone buzzed. A text from Savannah. How's it going? Need backup? Before I could respond, Rita cleared her throat. Perhaps we could discuss a compromise. Joint ownership with clear terms about usage and eventual sale. No sale, I said firmly. I'm not selling my share. You can't just move in and... Actually, she can, Marcus interrupted. That's exactly what co-ownership means. Micah slumped in his chair. This is insane. I have plans for that property. Investments lined up. Should have thought about that before trying to kick me out, I said. Or before forgetting who helped you get that house in the first place. Caroline reached into her bag and pulled out an old envelope. I found this in your father's things. He left instructions to give it to you both if you ever ended up like this. She handed us each a letter. I opened mine with trembling fingers. Dad's familiar handwriting filled the page. If you're reading this, you've forgotten what matters most. Money comes and goes, but family is forever. The agreement I made you sign wasn't just about property. It was about trust, about having each other's backs. Don't let pride destroy what matters most. I looked up to see Micah staring at his own letter. His face softened for the first time today. I never wanted this, I said quietly. I just wanted my brother back. The room fell silent. Rita shuffled her papers uncomfortably while Marcus watched us carefully. The investors are coming next week, Micah finally said. I can't just cancel. Then don't. I leaned forward. Show them the property, but tell them the truth. That it's co-owned and any deals will need both owners' approval. And then what? Then we talk, like family, about what this house means to both of us. Caroline stood up. You're both coming to dinner tonight. No lawyers, no documents. Just family trying to find their way back to each other. I have plans, Micah started. Cancel them. Caroline cut him off. Some things are more important than business, son. Your father knew that. It's time you remembered it, too. As we filed out of Marcus's office, Lexis was waiting in the lobby. She took one look at Micah's face and wrapped her arms around him. Figure it out? She asked. Working on it. He mumbled into her shoulder. I watched them, remembering how Micah used to hug me like that when I was hurting. Somewhere under all his ambition and pride, that brother still existed. I just had to find him again. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Charles. Heard about the house situation. Karma's a bitch, isn't it? I deleted the message without responding. This wasn't about karma or revenge anymore. It was about something much more important. It was about finding our way home. Caroline's kitchen hadn't changed in 20 years. The same yellow curtains, the same worn wooden table where Micah and I had done our homework, fought over breakfast, and shared our dreams. You're both terrible cooks, Caroline said, stirring a pot of her famous pasta sauce. Just like your father. That man could burn water. Remember when he tried to make Christmas dinner? I smiled despite myself. The turkey was still frozen in the middle. We had Chinese takeout. Micah added softly. It was the first thing he'd said since we arrived. Caroline set 3 plates on the table. Eat, then we talk. The silence as we ate was heavy with unspoken words. Finally, Caroline put down her fork. Your father would be heartbroken to see you like this. Dad's not here, Micah said sharply. He's not here to see how hard I've worked, what I've built. What we built, I corrected. Together. Fine. Micah slammed his hand on the table, making the plates rattle. You helped with the house, but I'm the one who turned it into something valuable. I'm the one who made the connections, found the investors, while treating me like I was nothing. My voice cracked. I lost everything, Micah. My marriage, my home. You were all I had left, and you threw me away like I was garbage. I didn't. He stopped, running his hands through his hair. I was trying to protect my investment. Investment? Caroline's voice was ice. Is that what family is to you now? An investment? You don't understand. Micah stood up, pacing. These investors, they're not just anyone. They're powerful people. They can make or break careers. I needed everything to be perfect. And your divorced sister didn't fit that perfect image? I asked. No. Yes. I don't know. He collapsed back into his chair. Everything was finally falling into place. The house, the business, Lexis. I couldn't risk anything going wrong. So you risked losing your sister instead? Caroline shook her head. There's something you both need to know about your father's last days. She disappeared into her bedroom and returned with a small box. Inside was a hospital bracelet and a handwritten note. The night before he died, Caroline said, your father made me promise something. He knew you two were different. Micah with his ambition, Poppy with her heart. He worried you'd drift apart, that money would come between you. That's why he made us sign the agreement. I realized. Yes, but it wasn't just about the money. He wanted to make sure you'd always need each other, that you couldn't succeed without working together. Micah picked up the note, reading it silently. His hands started shaking. What does it say? I asked. Tell them I'm sorry. Micah read aloud. Sorry I won't be there to keep them together, but remind them that they're stronger together than they ever were apart. The kitchen fell silent except for the soft ticking of the old clock above the stove. You know what's funny? I said finally. When Charles cheated on me, the first person I thought of wasn't him, or my friends, or even Mom. It was you, Micah, because you were always the one who protected me. Until I didn't. His voice was barely a whisper. The investors are coming next week, I said. Show me the plans. Help me understand your vision. Maybe we can find a way to make it work. Together. You'd do that? After everything? I'm not giving up my half of the house, I said firmly. But I'm not giving up on my brother either. Caroline stood up, gathering the plates. Your father also said something else that last night. He said his biggest regret wasn't dying. It was knowing he wouldn't see how amazing his children would become together. Micah's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then turned it off completely. The investors can wait. We have more important things to figure out. Like how you're going to make up for being such a terrible brother. I managed a small smile. Like how we're going to honor Dad's legacy, he corrected. Both of us. As we helped Caroline clean up, moving around the kitchen in the familiar dance of family, I felt something shift. The house wasn't just a property anymore. It was a bridge, a way back to each other. My phone lit up with a text from Lexus. How's it going? I looked at Micah, who was drying dishes and actually smiling for the first time in weeks, and typed back, We're finding our way home. A corporate wellness center? I stared at the blueprint spread across the dining room table. That's your big plan for our house? Not just wellness. Micah pointed to different areas of the layout. Think exclusive executive retreats, high-end meditation spaces, private therapy rooms. There's a huge market for stressed-out CEOs looking for luxury relaxation. Lexus set down 3 cups of coffee. Show her the projection numbers. Micah slid over a spreadsheet. My eyes widened at the figures. These are impressive. But, Micah prompted, reading my expression, but it's also our home. I traced the outline of what was currently my bedroom. Where would we live? We could convert the east wing into private quarters, Lexus suggested. Keep it separate from the business side. My phone buzzed. Savannah. How's the big meeting with the Golden Boy going? Later, I texted back, then looked up at Micah. The investors arrive tomorrow. What exactly are you going to tell them? The truth, he said, surprising me. That the property is co-owned and any decisions need both our approval. And if they walk? Then they walk. He ran his hand through his hair. Look, I've been thinking about what Mom said, about Dad's letter. Maybe I got too caught up in the business side of things. Lexus snorted. Maybe? Okay, definitely. He amended. But this could be good for both of us. We could build something together, like Dad wanted. The doorbell rang. Lexus went to answer it, returning with Caroline and... Charles? What the hell is he doing here? Micah stood up so fast his chair toppled backward. Charles held up his hands. I came to talk business. Get out, Micah and I said simultaneously. Hear him out, Caroline said. Please. I looked at my mother. You brought him here? He has information about your investors, she said. Information you need to hear. Charles stepped forward, his familiar cologne making my stomach turn. Those investors you're meeting tomorrow? They're not what they seem. What are you talking about? Micah demanded. They're corporate raiders, Charles said. They target family-owned properties, find legal loopholes to force sales. I've seen them do it before. How do you know this? I asked. Because they approached me first, he admitted. Wanted inside information about your situation, about the co-ownership agreement. Micah's face darkened. And you told them? No, Charles said quietly. Whatever happened between Poppy and me, I couldn't do that to her. To either of you. I sat down hard, my legs shaky. Why are you really here, Charles? Believe it or not, to make things right. At least a little. He pulled out a folder. Here's everything I have on them. Their previous deals, their tactics. Use it. Micah snatched the folder, flipping through it. His face grew progressively paler. They've done this 6 times in the last year, he said. Find family-owned properties, exploit internal conflicts. Like a brother and sister fighting over ownership. I finished. Lexus peered over Micah's shoulder at the documents. Look at the fine print in their standard contract. They could force a sale within 6 months. You need to cancel the meeting, Charles said. No, I stood up. We need to show them exactly who they're dealing with. Micah looked at me. What are you thinking? I'm thinking it's time to show them what happens when someone tries to come between family. Charles shifted uncomfortably. I should go. Thank you, I said, surprising myself, for warning us. He nodded once and left, Caroline following after a quick hug for each of us. So, Lexus said into the silence, what's the plan? I looked at the blueprints, then at my brother. Remember how we used to team up against the bullies in school? A slow smile spread across Micah's face. You want to play them at their own game? Better. I pulled out my phone. I want to call Marcus and Rita. Get them both here tonight. We're going to create an ironclad partnership agreement that those raiders can't touch. And then? Lexus asked. Then we show them what happens when they try to mess with the Bennett siblings. Micah reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Together? Together, I agreed. Just like Dad wanted. As Micah made the calls to our lawyers, I looked around at our house. Not his, not mine, but ours. Tomorrow, we'd face those investors as a united front. But tonight, we'd rebuild what mattered most. Our family. My phone lit up with a final text from Savannah. Need backup tomorrow? I smiled and replied, no, I've already got all the backup I need. The investors arrived in sleek black cars at exactly 10 a.m. 3 men and 1 woman, all wearing expressions that probably hadn't changed since their last hostile takeover. Welcome to our home, Micah and I said in unison, standing shoulder to shoulder in the foyer. The lead investor, Robert, raised an eyebrow. Our? Oh, didn't your research team mention? I smiled sweetly. I'm Micah's sister and co-owner. Shall we move to the conference room? They followed us into what used to be the formal dining room, now transformed into a meeting space. Marcus and Rita sat quietly at opposite ends of the table, a united front of legal representation. Before we begin, the female investor, Amanda, opened her briefcase. We have some preliminary paperwork. Actually, Micah interrupted, we have our own documentation to discuss first. He slid copies of a bound document across the table. Our partnership agreement. Robert barely glanced at it. We were under the impression this property was solely owned by Micah. Common mistake, I said. One that could have led to some unfortunate legal complications. Good thing we cleared that up early, right? The other 2 investors, who hadn't introduced themselves, exchanged glances. Perhaps, Amanda said smoothly, we should discuss our vision for this property. Of course. Micah stood up. But first, coffee? Lexus? Lexus entered with a tray of coffee and pastries, setting them down just as Caroline walked in. Oh, I'm sorry, she said, perfectly timed. I didn't realize you had a meeting. I just dropped by to discuss the family trust's interest in the property. Robert's jaw tightened. Family trust? Mom's our financial advisor, I explained, watching their faces fall. She helps manage our family's real estate portfolio, which is extensive, Caroline added, sitting down. Though this property holds special sentimental value. My late husband made sure of that. Marcus cleared his throat. Perhaps we should discuss the specific terms of your proposal? Amanda opened another folder. We're prepared to offer significantly above market value. Interesting, I cut in, because we had our own proposal in mind. I nodded to Micah. He clicked a remote, bringing up our wellness center plans on the wall screen. We're not looking to sell. We're looking for investors in this concept. Minority investors. With no controlling interest, Rita added helpfully. Robert's face reddened. This isn't what we discussed. No, Micah agreed. It's better. A guaranteed 15% return on investment with none of the legal complications of trying to force a sale through loopholes or family conflicts. Amanda's professional mask slipped. I don't know what you're implying. We're not implying anything, I said, sliding forward the folder Charles had provided. We're stating facts, like your company's interesting pattern of acquiring family properties through, let's call them aggressive tactics. The silent investors finally spoke up. This meeting is over. Is it? Caroline asked. Because I've already shared your company's history with my extensive network of family-owned businesses in the area. They found it fascinating. Robert stood up, straightening his tie. You clearly have no interest in a legitimate business deal. On the contrary, Micah said, we're offering you one. Just not the kind where you get to tear apart a family legacy. Your choice, I added. Legitimate investment opportunity or a very public exposure of your business practices. My friend Savannah is a business journalist, by the way. She's very interested in corporate ethics stories. The room fell silent except for the soft ticking of the grandfather clock in the corner. The one Dad had restored himself. Amanda closed her briefcase. We'll be in touch. No, I said firmly. You won't. They filed out, their expensive shoes clicking on the marble floor. As soon as the door closed, Lexus burst out laughing. Their faces, she gasped, when Caroline walked in. Marcus gathered his papers. I don't think they'll be bothering you again. But others might, Rita warned. You should be prepared. We are, Micah said, looking at me. We're stronger together, right? Caroline hugged us both. Your father would be so proud. After the lawyers left, Micah, Lexus, and I stood in the foyer looking around at our home, really seeing it for the first time in weeks. So, Lexus said, about that wellness center idea? It's actually not bad, I admitted, with some modifications. Like what? Micah asked. Like making sure it helps people who really need it, not just rich executives. Dad would have liked that. Micah nodded slowly. A family legacy worth building. My phone buzzed. Savannah. How'd it go with the corporate vultures? I looked at my brother, who was already sketching new ideas on a napkin, and typed back, they never stood a chance against the Bennett siblings. I can't believe you're making me do this, Micah grumbled, hauling another box from the moving truck. You lost the coin toss, I reminded him. Besides, it was your idea to convert this wing into the residential section. We were transforming the east wing of our house into a home for families going through difficult transitions. Divorce, job loss, medical crises. The wellness center would occupy the west wing, helping fund the charitable side of our venture. Where do you want these brochures? Lexus called from the doorway. Reception area. Micah and I answered simultaneously, then shared a laugh. My phone rang. Charles. Hey, I answered, stepping into the hallway. Thanks again for that reference letter for our nonprofit status. Least I could do, he said. Listen, I'm moving to Seattle next month. Wanted you to hear it from me. Good luck, I said, and meant it. The anger that had once burned so hot had cooled into something like indifference. You too, Poppy. You deserve it. I hung up just as Caroline arrived with lunch for the moving crew. The contractors finished the meditation garden, she announced. Come see? We followed her outside to what used to be Micah's prized putting green. Now it was a serene space with a small fountain, the sound of running water mixing with wind chimes. Dad would have loved this, Micah said softly. He does love it, Caroline corrected, pointing to a small bronze plaque near the fountain. The Thomas Bennett Memorial Garden. I traced the letters with my finger, feeling the raised metal under my skin. Speaking of Dad, Micah cleared his throat. I found something in his old files. He pulled out a worn envelope. It's his original business plan for this place, from 20 years ago. I took the papers, yellowed with age. The sketches were rough but unmistakable. A community center, a healing space, a place for people to rebuild their lives. He never told us, I whispered, because he wanted us to find our own way here, Caroline said. Together. Savannah's car pulled up, trunk loaded with donated supplies. Where's my favorite reformed jerk of a brother-in-law? Still reforming, Micah called back, grinning. The two had developed an unlikely friendship over the past weeks. The local news wants to do a story on the center, Savannah said, unloading boxes. Something about siblings turning family drama into community service. No press, Micah and I said together. Still weird when they do that, Lex's stage whispered to Savannah. The rest of the day passed in a blur of activity. By sunset, we stood in the newly furnished common room, surrounded by the evidence of our shared vision. First family moves in tomorrow, I said, straightening a picture frame. The old photo of Micah and me at Dad's funeral, now joined by a new one of us at the center's groundbreaking. Are we ready? Micah asked. No, I smiled, but we'll figure it out together. Like everything else? He teased. Like everything else. Caroline appeared with a bottle of champagne and glasses. A toast, she said, pouring. To second chances. To family, Lexis added. To Dad, Micah said quietly. To home, I finished. As we clinked glasses, I looked around at this space we'd created. Not just a house anymore, but a testament to what family could be, what broken things could become when pieced back together with love and understanding. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Marcus. Nonprofit status approved. Congratulations. It's official, I announced. The Bennett Family Center is real. Micah wrapped an arm around my shoulders. Remember when I tried to kick you out? Remember when I legally outmaneuvered you? Remember when you both stopped being idiots? Lexis chimed in. We all laughed, the sound echoing through rooms that would soon be filled with other families finding their way back to each other. You know what's funny? I said. When Charles cheated on me, I thought my life was over. But it was just beginning. When you showed up at my door that night, Micah added, I thought I was doing you a favor. Turns out you were saving me from myself. Caroline raised her glass again. To new beginnings. Outside, the fountain burbled in Dad's garden, wind chimes singing in the evening breeze. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new families, new chances to help others heal. But tonight, in this moment, everything was exactly as it should be. We did good, sis, Micah said softly. I squeezed his hand. We did good, bro. And in the growing darkness, our house, our home, glowed with warmth and possibility. A beacon of hope for others who needed to find their way back home.